Hey everyone, we're going to be doing first person point of view. Now, this was a little book that I used to make in class, but we have turned it into notes. So these are going to be the models that I use for each of the point of view. There will be quite a bit of notes with this because there are several different points of view and you have to have the notes and the model in order to see it instead of me just giving you that overview video from yesterday. So the first thing that we're going to do each time is we are going to read the passage. We are going to cross out dialogue. Now, dialogue is what people are saying. Now, why do I do that, Mrs. Ray? Because I care what the people are saying, but when I'm talking about the narrator is telling me what is going on, not what the people are saying. The characters are saying that. I only want to know what the narrator is saying, which is not the dialogue, in quotes. So we're going to cross that out. Now, if it ends up being third person, I'm going to want to look at the thoughts and feelings of things and characters later on. But right now, we're going to be crossing it off. Okay? So you need a pen and you need a highlighter for this. Okay? So I'm going to cross out the dialogue. So the first thing, always, I read the passage one time. All right, sorry about that. So we're going to be crossing out the dialogue. So we're going to reread this a second time. Then we are going to cross out the dialogue. Then we're going to reread a third time. And we're going to focus on the pronouns. Now, look familiar. First, read the first time. Actually, I'm going to write right here. First time. Okay. I'm going to highlight this over here so it can separate it. Okay. Now, I want you to focus on these pronouns. These are the pronouns. Actually, I'm going to tell you that after we read it. Okay. So we are going to read it. I am going to put my pen down. Okay. And my highlighter down because I'm just reading it to understand. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and hopefully it won't get fuzzy there. Mom threw her hands in the air. I can't believe it. I have to get these cookies. I have to have these cookies delivered to the school in less than 3 hours, and I'm short an egg. I tried to sneak quietly out of the room before my mom realized I was there. Adrian, you're going to have to ride your bike to the store and buy a carton of eggs for me. I scowled. But Mom, I finally finished my homework and was just going to watch TV. My favorite show starts in 5 minutes. Can't you just drive to the store and get them? They are for the bake sale to benefit your school band. The least you can do is help me by running to the store for me, Mom pointed out. I couldn't argue at that point, so I grabbed the $3 bills Mom handed me and hopped on my bike. Determined to run this errand as quickly as possible, I pedaled the short distance to the store and was in and out within 2 minutes. I climbed back on my bike and placed the plastic bag on it so that the bag was dangling from my handlebars. I began to race back home. When I zoomed over the railroad tracks, however, my tire got caught in a thin space next to the rails, and I sailed through the air and hit the ground with an oomph. Blood was running down my right leg, and my elbow was screaming for mercy. My only concern was for the eggs. Mom didn't give me enough money to go back and buy another carton of eggs. Please let at least 2 of the eggs be okay. I slowly opened the carton, afraid of what I would find. Cracked shells and oozy raw egg substance were everywhere. I peered at the eggs, willing a few of them to be uncracked, and there were. Exactly 2 eggs were still intact. Whew, I hopped back on my bike and managed to ride home. So that's my first time I understand word. I'm understanding what I'm reading. Okay. And now at this point, I'm going to cross out the dialogue as I reread it again. So anything that's in quotes, not sideways. Sideways is thoughts. We don't want those crossed out. Just what is in quotations. The narrator is not reading the quotes. We're not looking at the characters and they're talking. That is actually going to confuse you because the character is talking. It might use different pronouns than the narrator. Okay, so those are That's all of the dialogue. Okay. So the second time I read, I crossed out the dialogue, which is the quotations. Now I'm going to focus on the pronouns. Here are the pronouns that you're going to look for. I, me, us, we, my, mine, ours. Okay. Oops, that should say mine. Okay. So those are the ones that are going to tell us that are first person. So if I find any of those, I already know this is first person because it says it on the top, but these are the words. If I find these pronouns, it's going to tell me that it's first person. So I'm going to not focus on names. Now the word, how do I know if a word is a name? It's capitalized. So mom is capitalized. Mom threw her hands in the air. I tried to sneak quietly out of the room before my mom realized I was there. I scowled. Crossed all that off. Mom pointed out. I couldn't argue with that point, so I grabbed the $3 bills Mom handed me and hopped on my bike. Determined to run this errand as quickly as possible, I pedaled to the short distance to the store and was in with it out within 2 minutes. I climbed back on my bike and placed the plastic bag so that the bag was dangling from my handlebars. Do you see a pattern? Adrian is the one telling the story. He is telling it from his point of view. And how do I know? Because of all the pronouns and what he's saying is going on. When I zoomed over the railroad tracks, however, my tire got caught in the thin space next to the rails, and I sailed through the air and hit the ground with an oomph. Blood was running down my right leg and my elbow, screaming for mercy. My only concern was for the eggs. Now, this is thoughts. I can go through and highlight the thoughts because that is what the narrator is thinking, unless it says Sally thought, okay, or Adrian thought. So think about who is saying it. I'm actually going to skip that right now, and I'm just going to talk about the words that are not italicized, because we're going to go into that a little bit further later on. And I just want to talk about what the narrator is saying at this time. Okay, so all of these show that this is first person. If they are present, it is first person. Now, here is a clue. If you find, this is very important, if you find pronouns from third person and first person, if you find pronouns from first and third person, always go with first. Now this is why. I can be talking about her. I can talk about what she did. I could be telling you about what he did. Okay? If someone else is talking about me, they're going to use my name and they're going to say she. So it's always first person. I'm actually going to highlight that because that you might find a mixture and not know which one to pick. And that is our main rule. Now, what you're going to do is you have a practice that is posted on the assignment. You are going to take the practice and you're going to tell me, one, what words you find, what are the key words that you find, or pronouns, and then you are also going to tell me what